So a couple months ago, one of my really good friends, he reached out to me. He goes, hey, would you have 15 minutes to chat with this kid I know from high school who's thinking about starting content? And I'm like, absolutely. I get on the phone call with this kid, and I could tell from the start, he's very hesitant about doing this, as anyone is, because it takes a lot for you to put yourself out on the internet. He's asking me questions like, am I gonna lose friends? How do you deal with hate? How do you deal with what people say about you? All these different things. And I'm trying to be as honest as possible and tell him all the bad, but I'm also trying to give him the good and sell him on the dream, because the good is incredible. But if you're going to start posting on social media, you need to understand the bad. I've been doing this the past 2 years, and while I'm still pretty new to it, I have a good understanding of all the bad things that could come about from this. And if you really want to make a career out of this, and you start today without knowing what could come in the future, it makes it this much easier to quit every single time one of these bad things happen. So with that being said, if you get value out of this video, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Let's start with the bad. It's humans seem to like negativity a little bit more than positivity. So let's get right into the bad. The first bad thing is you will never be able to do everything right. No matter what you post, there will be someone out there that disagrees with you, tries to hate on you, tries to get in your head and tear you down. I'll give you a quick example. Some of my content, I'm big on personal development, waking up early, bettering yourself, and I do all of this while still in college. So some of my popular videos is like, POV, your first class is at 11:30 a.m. And it's essentially a morning in my life at college, waking up at like 5:30 and putting in all this work before class. Every time I post one of those videos, I have people in my comments saying, live a little bit, what is wrong with you, you're cringy, you're a tryhard, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's fine. So then when I go out, I'll post a video of me going out and having a fun time, like this past week at Formal. It doesn't matter. I'm still getting railed in the comments saying, oh, you have no friends, you drink high noon, why don't you drink a beer? All this other stuff. Another example, this is even unrelated to the other two. This past week, I posted a video about all the businesses that I failed in college. I wanted to post this video to try to help inspire young entrepreneurs like myself who are struggling with failing at all these businesses, and that if you keep going and being persistent, there can be light at the end of the tunnel. And so I post this video. It has nothing to do with getting up early. It has nothing to do with drinking a high noon and going out. It's simply a story of all the struggles and failures I've had and how now I finally got a success. People are still commenting hate on it. But this time they're just coming at me and saying I'm a marketing major. The moral of the story is no matter what you do, you are never going to be able to please everybody. And this is extremely important to know for people who have people-pleasing tendencies like myself. You can't appeal to everybody. Be who you are. Understand who your target audience is and work to inspire them. And when the hate comes in, just let it fly by because it's never gonna end. And the minute you start getting hate, it's probably a good sign that you're doing something right. This next one is super, super important. Be prepared that anything you say, do, text, post could appear on the cover of a New York Times article. I was in my leadership class the other day and we had a guest speaker and he was talking about this experience at his job. He was on an email thread and he was working with this client and he hated this client. And so he sends an email to one of his coworkers about how much this client sucks, yada, yada, yada. It turns out that that client was actually copied on the email. So it got to the client and it got to the president of his company. And he said it was one of the most demoralizing and humbling experience he's ever faced before. And from that day on out, he told himself, any email I'm gonna send, any text message I'm gonna send, I have to be prepared that whatever that message says, it could appear on the cover of the New York Times. I think that is such a good story and analogy for how you approach saying things, sending text messages, emails, whatever it is, once you start growing your personal brand and getting more and more attention on social media. Number 3 is probably the most difficult one, especially for me. My anxiety since gaining attention on social media has been at all-time highs. And it stemmed from one thing, not having control over things that you have no control over. I was listening to a podcast with Emma Chamberlain on it the other day, and she was talking about one thing she really struggles with is every time she has an interaction with someone, if she's not on her best behavior, or maybe she comes off rude, that person has all the power in the world to go online, start a rumor, and talk about how bad of a person she is, or say this and that, and essentially just start a rumor that could spread like wildfire, even if it's not true. We just saw an example of this in the news recently. There was this sorority girl, and I think it was at Ole Miss, and somebody, I don't know who it was, started a rumor that she slept with one of her sorority sister's dads, which was completely false. But that rumor spread around the entire campus. It got mainstream media attention. A completely false rumor. And so the moral of the story is that perception is reality. And you have no control over what rumors people start, or what they say, or what they do. And it's inevitable that once you start growing on social media, you are gonna have more and more enemies. And who knows what rumors they're gonna spread. And at the end of the day, it may increase your anxiety, but it's really something to be prepared for and understand if you're ready for this challenge, because it's not an easy one. The next one, I hate saying this. I truthfully hate saying this, but kids that you're close with, some of your best friends, your acquaintances, people in groups that you're in, they will take jabs at you and make fun of you all the time. And it stems from one thing, and that's jealousy and envy, which we are all susceptible to. But when you have a friend that you've had for multiple years, and you could tell that there's now some tension in between you guys because he or she doesn't necessarily always like the success and attention or money that you may start getting once you grow, they're gonna take jabs at you. And you wanna know the tough part? Now every time that you're with that person and you're trying to film your social media stuff, it's gonna upset them. They may make a passive-aggressive remark. And you know that now you have to start to distance yourself from that person. Or when you're with that person, you have to start self-deprecating yourself, because otherwise that envy and jealousy is just gonna keep increasing, and increasing. It's a tough realization for a lot of people, and I really struggle with this. But the good part about this one is you'll really find who has your back and who's in your circle. And once you do, that circle is gonna get tighter and tighter and tighter. And last one, number 5, you could call this bad. I don't call it bad. It's a little bit of both, but it's social media never ever stops. When you're grinding in college or in high school on this big paper or big presentation, you finally submit it after working all this time, and you can relax a little bit because you know you have time until the next one starts. That's not the case with social media. This is such a big industry, and there's so many different creators and personalities trying to make it that you feel like you can't take a day off, because if you do, you're gonna be forgotten. If you film lifestyle content every single morning, you're filming your morning. Every night, you're filming your night. You go to a vacation, you're filming that. You go out with friends, you're filming that. It's a never-ending cycle. But even Mr. Beast talks about it's just never ending. If you truly want to be the greatest and excel in this space, there are no days off, and you have to constantly innovate and innovate and innovate. That's enough negativity though. Let's get into some of the positive things. The first positive thing that not many people understand is content is a pure form of creative expression. As children, we are some of the most creative we've ever been. And it's a lot of fun because good comes from creativity. But as we grow older and more rigid and less open-minded, and we conform to how society wants us to be, that creativity starts to diminish because we don't exercise the creative part in our brain. I remember it was like freshman year in college, and I'm in this class and we're doing a creativity exercise, and I'm sitting there saying, holy shit, I'm like the least creative person in this entire room. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. But that analysis of myself at the time was completely false, because creativity is a learned skill, and content makes you learn creativity. And it exercises that creative part in your brain, which I believe makes you a better person in all aspects of your life. Number 2, a very, very good part, and we mentioned this earlier about hate, that you can't please everyone, you're gonna get hate no matter what, but it does not matter. Because one message from a follower telling you how much value you've added to their life, or how much you've motivated them, or entertained them, or inspired them, wipes away 10,000 hate messages. It is the best feeling in the world knowing that what you're doing is making a difference in another person's life, because there have been people out there in your life that have done the same for you. And then lastly, as human beings, I think we search for one thing in this life, and that one thing is a purpose. because a purpose leads to fulfillment. And it helps you understand that you are important in this world and that what you're doing is making an impact. Social media has been this for me. Every single day, I can wake up knowing that I'm making a difference and impacting someone's life for the better. And it gives me endless fulfillment and endless passion and just freaking enthusiasm every single day to wake up and make a difference. So after hearing all these things, if you're still on the fence, I cannot encourage you enough to just go for it. Put out your first post. But the important thing is that the best day to start is today. Start thinking very future oriented. Understand all the bad that could come and what you have to prepare for. But know at the same time that, in my opinion, the good outweighs the bad by tenfold. The future looks so bright. 2025 looks so bright. Keep believing foolishly, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Somewhere on the screen should direct you to somewhere else in our channel. But as always, believe foolishly.